Now, it does look now that Rachel Reeves will lose her job as Chancellor of the Exchequer when Andy Burnham becomes Prime Minister next Monday. It does seem that Shabana Mahmood could pip her to that post, but Miss Reeves has claimed that she has fixed the foundations since starting the role in July 2024. But however, not everyone is quite so upbeat about her record in office. Well, Jamie Jenkins, who used to be the head of health and economic stats at the Office for National Statistics, he says payroll jobs are down, borrowing is up, debt interest is enormous, taxes are rising, business confidence is weak, GDP per head is under pressure. Labour did not fix the foundations. It taxed prosperity and weakened the economy built on top of them. But apart from that, Jamie Jenkins thinks she's doing a great job, and here he is now. Jamie Jenkins, welcome to the show. Fair to say, in office, you haven't been the biggest fan of Rachel Reeves.
No, afternoon, Martin. I think the key stat really on Rachel Reeves is that the economy is one of the critical things that a Prime Minister would survive on. And the fact that the economic picture has been kind of pretty dire for the UK for the last couple of years now. Obviously, we had the jobs tax, which has meant that we've seen 190,000 payroll jobs fewer now than what we had before the election. Obviously, taxes have been going up. And if the economy was going really well and we were growing the economy and we were having lots of job increases, I don't think we'd be seeing Andy Burnham in number 10 and we wouldn't be seeing Keir Starmer going. So the fact that Keir Starmer's leaving office this week and Rachel Reeves is more than likely going to go with him is that's the only factor you really need to understand of the job that she's actually done.
But Jamie Jenkins, the figures out today are showing the economy has grown by 0.1% and it will grow further to 0.2% moving forward. And Rachel Reeves will say she inherited a terrible black hole from the Conservatives. Oh, you're being a bit harsh.
Well, the black hole that she keeps talking about is about 25 billion pounds, I think. But overall, I think the Labour government has borrowed 274 billion pounds since they came into power. She's arguing that they borrowed less in the second year than they did in the first year, but that's the equivalent of me saying, well, I borrowed loads of money in the first year of buying my house and I borrowed a little bit less the second year. You know, you've got to get the kind of finances under control. You look at the gilt yields, they're higher than what they were under Liz Truss when we had that mini budget. You know, the confidence of the UK economy with the size of the borrowing we've gone. She has delivered some growth. We've seen unemployment growth. We've seen benefits going up, which is not really the kind of growth that we're looking for as a nation, Martin. So I don't think her legacy is one. If she was doing such a great job and the Labour backbenchers really wanted rid of Starmer, then there wouldn't even be any speculation about changing the Chancellor. And normally, if a Chancellor does a really good job, they're in the frame to be Prime Minister. And the fact they had to get Andy Burnham in from outside of Westminster, it kind of shows the job that she's done there.
Jamie, now, Rachel Reeves got a bit of stick for her CV, the Bank of England, the role she had. She got a few nicknames about that along the way. But at least she did work for the Bank of England. She has economics in her background. Now, I'm no economist, but neither is Shabana Mahmood. Shabana Mahmood is a lawyer. Moving forward, there are still the same huge challenges facing the new Chancellor. What needs to be done, Jamie, to get this country back on track?
Yeah, well, I think the key thing that needs to be done is we need to have a general election, really, because you can change the football manager, but if most of the players on the pitch are pretty much the same ones, you're not going to get a different result. So I think ultimately, Martin, you've got to, maybe a new Chancellor will come in and change the tax structure, because ideally you need to lower taxes. We've got taxes continuing to go up, but Andy Burnham's, the rhetoric is that he's going to continue to increase tax, because as more and more tax goes up, that means there's less money in people's pockets. They're not going to go out and spend it. I think the biggest tax cut, though, the government could do, if you think about what one thing that could change, Martin, is if the government, and that's maybe why Ed Miliband wouldn't be Chancellor, if the government abandons this net zero nonsense that they're going for, if we can get electricity prices comparable over the next few years to what we've got in the US, that will mean that there'll be money in everybody's pockets because they'll be paying less on energy. It will drive the economy because businesses will have lower energy costs as well. That's the one thing they need to do because there's stifling growth. Will the government do that? I pretty much doubt it.
Now, Jamie Jenkins, I had a phone call today from Doogie Beattie, of course, who's our Northern Ireland reporter. He was talking to me about the nationalisation of British Steel, which has been formalised today. He mentioned the precise thing you're talking about the cost of energy means that British Steel is so expensive, and particularly in Northern Ireland, there's a 50% tariff on steel because it's considered to be part of the European Union. It's considered, it gets tariffs from America, it gets tariffs from Britain. We can't compete on basic manufacturing, and as such, Jamie Jenkins, there's no wonder today production down 0.5%, construction down 0.8% because it's so blooming expensive to make anything in Britain because of energy costs.
Yeah, and the AI super race as well. There's obviously data centers use a lot of electricity and water, but we're not very competitive with that. And ultimately, Marty, when you want to kind of have more prosperity within the country, you need to keep the money within the country. But what we just importing as a nation, we import so much stuff that's manufactured abroad, which means the hard-earned cash that Brits have, they're giving away to the rest of the world. So you've got to have that manufacturing base. We lost a lot of it over the last few decades. I know America is trying to get more of that manufacturer base back into the US. And yet, ultimately, energy prices is what's going to drive UK going forward. We've got to get a grip on that. If we can get some common sense in government for the next 4 or 5 years, that will be some hope. But we're not seeing that being talked about. But the key problem, Martin, is nobody really knows what Andy Burnham's going to do because he's obviously having a coronation and we haven't really heard much from him.
The mystery mayor of Manchester will soon be our Prime Minister with no real scrutiny whatsoever. That's something we've got to look forward to together. Jamie Jenkins, always a pleasure and never a chore. Thank you for coming on the show today. I appreciate your time.